Good morning, guys. Welcome back to another episode of Bareham Engines. When I say good morning, it's actually 1:30. Right, guys, like I say, Monday. We've all been hard at it here, and there's a few changes here in the new area of the workshop. So we've had 3 engines come in today. Firstly, we've had the RS Turbo that we've been threatened with. Not sure what this wooden contraption is on the top, but I'm sure once I get the head bolts off, we'll be able to see there. It looks like it's took him some time to build that. But yeah, this basically is out of an Escort RS Turbo, I do believe. Yes, it is, because it's got the MFI ports on the head. So the car has been restored, and he wants the engine looking the same as the rest of the car, basically. He wants us to go through it. He's had some work done to it already, he said, but he just wants it all put together and checked, and whatever needs to be done. So it looks like the head's all been gone through, which is good. Although if we're building it, we will take that to bits and just make sure it's, if nothing else, clean, thoroughly clean. Obviously check the guides, make sure everything's been done properly on that. Looks like he's had a turbo here, a new turbo or reconditioned turbo. Whether he wants us to just check that out, or that's just got to be put onto the engine, I'm not sure yet. I haven't spoke to him about that. So yeah, we've got the RS Turbo, guys. This is the CVH engine, the same as in the XR3Is, etc. Very similar anyway. But yeah, that's nice. We've got the V8 here, which you can see I'm in the process of doing the vernier timing, but we'll come back to that, and I'll sort of give Isaac another lesson on how to do that. We have a Cosworth here. So this is from Steve, and Steve has come all the way down with his partner today from Manchester. So it's a 5-hour drive, something like that. This is out of an Escort Cosworth. So I think he said that he refreshed this himself over 20 years ago. He's had it like 20, 25 years. And he was just due to refresh it again. I don't know whether it had a head gasket failure, not sure, or it was just using a bit of oil or something. But when he stripped it, he's found that it's got the usual crack across that bolt hole. So we're obviously going to be long studding that. He supplied us with new parts. So over here, this will be the bay here for this Cosworth once we've long studded it. But we've got the clutch and crank, etc. down there. The crank has been ground 0.25 in the past. It all looks pretty good, to be honest. Depending on whether they ground it on top limit, that may well polish, but if not, we'll have to grind it down to 0.5. Flywheel and clutch, etc. there. New front pulley, all to be balanced. 2 sets of rods. These are the originals, but these have been balanced in the past, but just off the small end, so they haven't been done end for end. So we've got to check them, make sure they're not too far out on the small end. He said if need be, we can use those rods over there, but I'm pretty sure we'll be able to do something with them, guys. You know what, we've had plenty of sets in the past that are probably a lot worse than that. 0.5 pistons there. It should easily clean at those, but I've got to put my pockets in, do a dummy build. I think Steve's going to be putting this one together, but I've just got to make sure it's all good, and like I say, do a dummy build, make sure all the clearances, etc. are good. I think we've got the cylinder head. Yes, got the cylinder head in the wash. All looks good. Looks like it's had guide liners in the past, but we should probably end up just putting a new set of guides in it. But no corrosion on the surface, nothing like that. So just a straightforward go through. So yeah, thank you very much, Steve, for coming all the way down from Manchester. Nice to meet you. And the third and final engine, guys, this is one that a gentleman's been speaking with John. It's an A-Series Mini. Again, the guy's restoring the vehicle. I think it's in the process of being painted now. So he wants the engine just gone through and looking absolutely like new. So that would mean original paint, all the rest of it, nuts and bolts if need be, all have to be nice and original. So yeah, we'll have to unwrap that one, guys, and that's another one to get on with. So really, really happy with that. As I say, those are the 3 that were promised to come in very soon, and they're all here. So having a look now, guys, we've got a pretty full house. We've got the 4 over there. So serving its purpose. Bear in mind, we haven't used most of the drawers, and we haven't used any of the top boxes yet to store stuff in. And there is there's sort of 5 engines there, 1 there, 6 engines. We've got another one down there, which is going to be good. So that's 7, 8 engines in it on the go, with still plenty more space to go. So I don't particularly want to have many more than that on the go, guys, to be fair. So yeah, the cabinet's serving their purpose at the minute. Absolutely top job. The Mercedes, so this one is bored and honed now. Now we've faced this, we've just got to, we've been thoroughly cleaned, but we've got to get it into the dirty area over there and de-rust it basically. I don't want to start putting this in the vapor blaster because there's a lot of sort of intricate oil ways and stuff like that, and there's plugs that you can't really get out. So we're going to have to thoroughly go at this with the wire brush, etc. But to be honest, it's not even that bad. There's a bit of crud down there, which obviously we've still got to sort of loosen up. What we can't get at, we'll maybe take it outside and soda blast it, but it really isn't that bad anyway. So yeah, that's the Mercedes. Isaac has started to vapor blast a lot of the other bits. So if we just go through here, guys, you can see the cradle there. He's vapor blasted all that, so that's come up like new. That was horrible. Same as that plate there, the back plate. So yeah, cracking on with the Merc, guys. Got most of the bits as well for that. BMWs are done. We've got Deutschwerk's going to pick those up fairly shortly. But yeah, plenty on, guys, plenty on. Still waiting for our box to come back from, we have something at what they call John Kirkby white metaling, having a little, I think it's a Morris block that we're having white metalled. As soon as that's back with the nice wooden box that we got, we're going to get all these V8 bits loaded up and get that sent off to CTM. So it should be middle of this week, really, we get that back. But yeah, absolutely heaving now. Isaac and I have been up to Pat Williams this morning, had a look up the top of their stores just to see what Sealy tools they've got, and to be honest, we've pretty much kitted out that drawer there which we wanted to kit out. So this one we've kept free, and what we want to do is just load that up with tools, their Premier tool line, just load that up with tools. So we've got a set over there, a set over here, so either end of the workshop. So Brian kindly, the representative there, he's kindly gone away, had a word with Pat, see whether they can do us a bit of a deal on these tools that we've chose, and he can get those delivered down here. We get that box loaded up, guys. That would be absolutely ideal. So it's all coming together slowly. It's so far these cabinets really serving their purpose.
So we finally getting round to doing this one then?
We are, mate, yes. So we want to get this one out the door. Customer was on the phone on Friday. I think he'd like it back now, which is more than fair enough. So what we're doing is just setting up this vernier pulley.
Yeah.
So we know, because this is, you've got the camshaft in the block and it's chain driven, we know that it's potentially not going to be a million miles away than a standard pulley.
Right.
These verniers come into their own really when you're doing sort of overhead cam belt. So when you redo the timing belt, because there's some flex in the belt, obviously then if you skim the head and bring it down, it can adjust the pulleys then. So it's really, they're sort of more beneficial for the overhead cam. But we'll see how far this one is out, mate. So I've looked up the data on this. This is a Newman grind, it's a fast road cam. So they are saying on the inlet and exhaust, full lift is 110 degrees.
Right.
Okay.
So they tell you what it needs to be, basically.
Exactly, yeah. So in the spec on the grind of cam, it will say 110 degrees after top dead centre.
Right. Okay.
So I know we've gone through this before. But it's a fairly, I would say, fairly simple process, but it's just knowing what order to do it and the easiest way to do it, really. So we've made use of our Barham Engines timing disc there.
Very
looking
nice.
Fantastic on the end of the V8. So I've actually gone and found true TDC.
Yeah.
So what we do is we put our tool in the plug hole and we find out the centre of the dwell on the crankshaft, okay?
Okay.
So the idea of setting up the vernier is to find out exactly on the angle of the crank, exactly the centre of the dwell on the camshaft. But first of all, you have to find the centre of the dwell on TDC on the crank, okay?
Right, so you've got to find the centre of the dwell on both.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
that's set up to find the centre of the dwell on the camshaft.
On the
right now.
camshaft now, because I've done the crank.
You've done the crank.
And what you do is, like I've said to you before, you set up the DTI on top of the piston. Now, if you notice on this engine, or on this cylinder head, the plug hole is not...
It's not like...
It's not dead on 90 degrees to the top of the piston. It's on at a bit of an angle. So really the only way of doing that is where this tool comes in to its own, really, because you can screw that into the plug hole. This is rigid, so it's still, although in effect, when the piston comes up, it will be touching it there.
Yeah.
You can still do it with this tool, all right?
That's good.
So what we have to do is we find a marker, I turn it through, obviously setting the height of this on top of the piston at TDC, pushing it down probably 2 or 3 mil. And then what I do is turn it through 2 turns, and what you'll find is it will do this. It will go up, and you keep turning, it will pause there for a minute, and then it will start going back. So what we're looking for is just before it gets to the top point, you want to find any point. Probably I normally do it about sort of 10, 15 below, and then you zero it, okay? So we zero it there. Then what we do is we put this marker on the 0 at that point on the TDC, okay? And then you continue to turn it through and then back to the 0, right? And then what you do is you see how much it's moved. Say, for instance, it's moved 10 at that point. Then you know that true TDC is half that, which is 5. So we move that marker from the 10 to the 5, and you know then that that marker is set, true TDC on the crank, all right?
Yeah, okay.
So once we've done that, we then don't move the marker. I slacken all the bolts, bar one of them. So I've left that one tight that is in line with the keyway, okay? You only need one. And you have it sort of set in the centre. All right, so that's what an original pulley would be.
Right, okay.
Set at. Then what we do, you see this little Heath Robinson setup. All it is because it's all aluminium, I haven't really got anywhere for that to magnetise onto. So I'm just clamping it onto the side of the head. Doesn't matter, as long as it works and you're not interfering with anything. And then we're going to set this onto the inlet, okay?
Yeah.
And we're looking, because this is 110, we want to find the centre of the dwell on that camshaft will be 110 after top dead centre, right?
Okay.
So that is where we are at the moment, mate. Now, we are coming up to, you see I've just moved it round near enough 30. So if we keep going, what we want to do is find out where that marker, you'll see that marker, if I keep turning, you'll see that marker in a minute come to a stop. All right, and then it goes back.
Right, so that's hit the top and started closing the valve again then?
Yeah, so we know sort of up about 80 it stops. So what we'll do is in a minute we'll go to the 0 just before the 80, and we'll see where we are on this timing disc. So for that to happen, we've got to go round again 2 turns, okay? Because obviously there's one revolution of the camshaft on 2 revolutions of the crank. Oh, no, I've gone over again. Right. So if we set... Right, we'll set that to 0. And if you come round here, you can see that marker is on 95.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
So if we continue to turn this round, so now what we're aiming for is for the marker to go up and then back to the 0. So it's gone up to about 80, then back to the 0 very, very slowly. So we're back on the 0. And we are round at, so we were 95, this is now 143. Okay, so we want to half that, which is, so 48. So So half of that is 24. So if we go back 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 20, so that is 100 and basically it was at 119. Okay. So as that is now,
Yeah.
that is set. Basically, a standard pulley would be pretty much 119 degrees, so it's 9 degrees out. So what I want to do, we want to go back 9 degrees. So this is the way I do it. And you have, doing it this way, you have got to double check it because it's not always right, but especially with a belt. So we'll slacken that off. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll move this round 9 degrees. So we want to go 3, 8, 9. Okay. I'll do this one up again. Just nip that up.
So that moved the crank without the cam then.
Yeah. So the cam stayed still, and this pulley sort of moved and the crank moved. So we'll go around twice again now, mate. In theory, shouldn't be far out there. One. Right. So we've adjusted it, mate. We've had to do it a couple of times.
Yeah.
So we've come around to the 0. It was 93, and now we are at 128. So half of that, 110. Bang on.
Nice.
All right.
Yeah.
And you can see on the pulley, look how much we've had to move. So
that was in the centre, was it? Or
it was in the centre, which
Yeah.
in the centre generally should mean that it's like an original pulley. So
Yeah.
moving that much, it was 9 degrees, so that's how much we were out.
Cool.
Or it would have been out. So now what we'll do is we'll turn it through, just nip up all of these Allen key bolts, fairly snug, take our gauge off, etc. And that is all done.
Ideal. Starting to make a bit more sense now.
Starting to make a little bit more sense, yeah. As I say, it's
I think I just need to watch you do it a few times.
yeah, and have a little go yourself.
Yeah.
Really, it's just working out that half of how much you've moved, and you know. And as I say, sometimes when you move it, if you haven't got the gauge on the pulley, you move it back, and it doesn't actually move the pulley on the camshaft because it's taking up the slack of the belt or the chain. So it's a little bit harder.
I think I do understand it and I know what you need to do, but then I feel like if I was actually doing it without your help, I'd get myself in a right old...
You would do, but then I
and be
used to.
like,
You just,
"What's going on?"
you just end up knowing how to do it and that. But it's hard for me to explain it on camera rather than do it. If I just do it, I can do it in no time.
Yeah.
But yeah, there we go, mate. So now what is it? Front cover, sump.
And that's it. We ain't got anything else to go on it. So
Get it out the door.
Yeah, out the door.
Nice. Well, that is it for another video, guys. I hope that made sense. How to set the vernier pulley up on this TVR V8. But until another video, we will see you then. Have a great night and take it easy. Cheers, guys.